Night driving. The story is so scary that it haunts me to this day. That day around 11 p.m., I said goodbye to my mother from the provincial hospital to prepare to leave for Hanoi, a distance of about 60 kilometers, taking more than an hour to drive at night. I picked up my phone and swiped to unlock it to access Google Maps. Find out which route will be the most convenient, because now I don't have to worry about traffic jams, so speed is no longer an obstacle, so there will be more options for me. There were 3 suggested routes. One was the shortest route but had to pay a toll when passing the station. I thought it was not a small amount of money to lose, but the reduced time was not worth much, and another route on the map was suggested, but it was too far. In the end I decided to choose to take the pass route, which is free of charge and relatively close. However, I was a bit concerned because the road was deserted and it was dark with no street lights. Being alone on the road was quite sad and a bit scary. After a breath, I walked quickly to find the car. Ting, the car door unlocked. I sat in the car and started it. The car began to roll slowly from the garage mixed with both motorbikes and cars, struggling to steer to avoid the motorbikes parked everywhere. Then cut across a car. The car's mirror almost broke because I had to avoid it, so I bumped into an iron pillar blocking it, causing the mirror to fold down. He was startled and quickly hit the steering wheel. Damn. Finally getting out of the garage, I passed by the back of the morgue. It was too dark and I mumbled, "Damn, why don't people turn on the high pressure light here?" In fact, the high pressure light is still there, but it flickers sometimes it doesn't. After walking for a while, it flashed and then went out. As soon as my car passed, it lit up again and then went out again. 10,000, my dear. Oh, it's only 10,000, I'll send you 22, thank you. Thank you, thank you. The security guard raised both hands to receive the money. I paid the security guard and thought to myself, really cheap. If I were in Hanoi, I would probably have lost tens, even hundreds of thousands. Anyway, in a small provincial city, it's different. If I were in Hanoi at this time, there wouldn't be a parking space for me. I was startled when I thought about it. The hospital scene suddenly became strangely gloomy. Compared to the city, at this time patients and their families were still busy buying food at night. Seeing this, it was 11 p.m. here, but it felt like it was 3 a.m. I was in a hurry. He pulled up his glasses because the cold wind and drizzle hit his face, and suddenly he shivered, realizing how cold it was today. The weather suddenly started to turn cold, and now I thought of what my mother had told me over and over again. Be careful, it's very cold today. But at that moment the room was so hot that my mother's words of concern became more intense. Meaningless. The car went a long way, passing through several intersections with red lights, but only saw a flashing yellow light. Then, after passing a dirt road, I started to turn onto a dark road. I glanced at the clock for 11 p.m. After 30 minutes, the Google Maps screen on the car still showed the road with 55 kilometers remaining travel instructions with an estimated time of 1 hour 09 minutes. Along with the winding curves of the road ahead, it was chilling. I was about to turn around and change direction, but I still reassured myself. There's nothing to be afraid of. I'm sitting on a warhorse, so why should I be afraid? Looking at both sides of the road, the white landmarks were quickly running behind me and the car. The bamboo trees in a whole ridge outside the Red River bank hissed from one side and back to the other, following the oncoming monsoon wind. Came back, each time it seemed like it was pouring out anger on the same tree. and on my right side are vast dark fields. I don't know what kind of tree it is, but it is high and low, undulating in the distance with a few scattered lanterns and a few houses. People must have gone to sleep. Then, I felt like the world had gone to sleep and he was alone and lonely at night. Oh. What's that? I turned pale, my arms and legs were flustered and I suddenly accelerated. The car jerked and sped forward. Through the rear-view mirror I saw a white shirt flapping behind the car, chasing closely after the car, running even faster. The faster it came, the more it moved to the left and then to the right. For my own safety, I could not turn my head to observe, but could only continue to glance through the rear-view mirror to see the lights in front of me. The headlights are bright, but the rear lights are too dark. Only the mysterious red color reflects through the rear windshield. I wish the car had headlights like the front now, then I would turn on all the lights, the buzzing sound every time. A stronger wind began to whistle into my ears, chilling me. I thought it was absurd that the car had the air conditioning on, but how could it be cold? The sound of Buddha Buddha still did not stop. Not good. I turned on the interior lights in the car, reduced the throttle and turned around to observe. Suddenly I realized that the glass of the car door that had not been fully pulled was still open about 5 centimeters. I quickly pressed the button to raise the glass and the hiss of the wind stopped. Again, looking again, it turns out that the moon flap is just an imagination. It's just a bag of paper in the back of the car that my children often pull out. There are usually still a few tissues left sticking up. The wind blew into the car, causing paper to fly everywhere, and the monsoon also made him feel cold. Taking a long breath, he calmly continued to reassure, I'm riding a warhorse and an armored vehicle, so why should I be afraid? Calm down, calm down. Turning off the car's interior lights, I continued to move forward. There were still bamboo groves, scattered fields with a few old trees that I guessed were village rice trees. The sky was still gloomy like the last days of the lunar month. The sky was dark. There was not a single star in the sky. The drizzle still stained the front windshield. Every few seconds I swiped the wiper and swiped it. To ensure safety, I was forced to turn on the headlights because the road was dozens of meters higher than the field. Meters, and the road is zigzag like a snake slithering across the water. Thinking about my wife who is waiting for me at home right now, along with my 2 children, I probably still can't sleep. But I will sleep before I get home because it will probably be after 12:30 p.m. before I get home. Suddenly my phone flashed. Do not disturb mode made my phone not play music, but the screen was flashing. Donald Trump is calling. Donald Trump is calling. In the contact list, this is my wife's phone number. Pick up the phone, swipe your finger, and put the phone to your ear. I'm here. I've been gone for a while, so you guys should go to sleep first. I'll be home in about an hour. Don't worry, it's okay, Mom is fine, and I can't sleep even in the hospital. Dad being with Mom is the most secure thing. I quickly turned it off and threw the phone into the passenger seat. I looked forward because I spotted a silhouette of a person riding a bicycle in front. Looking back, I saw a red triangular reflector. My car was moving very quickly. I just had time to imagine a cyclist carrying an electric fishing tank and a fishing rod, quickly cycling. I'm still going fishing at this hour, so why don't I stay home with a warm blanket and a soft mattress? On the display screen there were 48 kilometers remaining, estimated to be about 50 minutes. This stretch of road was quite beautiful and had just been built, so I ran quickly, glanced at the screen next to it at a speed of up to 75 kilometers per hour. passing the bridge which was a water supply pump station. Water, I thought to myself. The goal of the fisherman is probably to come here. If he still comes here to fish, he won't be back until 2 AM, or is he still looking for frogs? Then in front there was a light of a motorbike. It seemed like this was a Wave Alpha. I saw two people carrying each other. The person sitting behind had a load on his back and in one hand was holding a stick. If I'm not mistaken, it was a chain. The dog was made of iron, sturdy and very long, with a noose still sticking out as if it were about to strangle someone. I shuddered to realize that these were two dog robbers, on the back of a flapping sack. It seemed like the booty they had just robbed. My car passed these two guys and suddenly the driver looked closely at the car. Luckily, the outside of my car was brighter than the inside, so I think they couldn't know what the car was pointing at. There was a lonely person, a lone traveler on an unfamiliar dike road. I pressed the accelerator and rushed forward, passing two strangers, but I still imagined the person in front had a pretty big scar on his face, thinking that if he were riding a motorbike today, he would probably be injured. These two guys killed me. I shook my head and turned to the rear view mirror outside the car. Oh my god, why doesn't my car increase the distance between the other two guys? The motorbike's lights were getting closer and closer. It seemed like my car was being chased, but it was really being chased. The motorbike was revving hard and I could still hear it clearly sitting in the car, scared at the thought of being chased. Robbed a car. Then the road ahead was full of potholes with rocks falling horizontally and vertically haphazardly. The road suddenly became bumpy. The car started making noise with the roughness of the road surface. Starting to turn a corner, I had to slow down. The two strangers quickly caught up with me. The guy in front put his face close and peered into the car. The guy in the back waved his dog chain to signal to stop the car, as if ready to hit the car window hard. Stop, stop. I tell you to stop the car, stop. What is it, what do you need? Stop the car. My face was pale, my eyes were red, scared. I no longer had the courage to think about what I was going to do at this time. There were still potholes in front of me. The car was bumping continuously. Looking at the car's clock, it was only he could still go less than 40 kilometers per hour, so I was wondering whether to speed up or slow down. It was very possible that there was a rocky beach ahead and he would be stuck there, so he became more and more scared. Outside the car, it looked like two robbers wanted to pass and block the car. I continued to lightly press the accelerator to try not to let them pass. On the map, as I was preparing to finish the turn, I hoped it would be time to accelerate, but suddenly the car lost all noise and stopped jumping, smoothing out again. At the same time there was a straight road ahead of me. Suddenly, he quickly accelerated and stepped on the accelerator. The two robbers missed the rear of the car. The guy in the back was holding a chain and shot hard at the rear of the car, but luckily for me it missed. I accelerated quickly up to 100 kilometers per hour. The distance quickly increased and left behind the two robbers. After 10 minutes, I regained my composure and believed that it was safe, so I slowed down to ensure the curves of the dike road, gradually slowing down to 70 kilometers per hour, sometimes even to 40 kilometers per hour whenever I had to. Slowing down makes me feel unsafe, so as soon as I exit the corners, I accelerate as much as possible. Suddenly there was a red spot in front, probably the reflection of a large scooter light along the dike, but it was not moving but was placed on an empty leg in the middle. Nearby was a concrete road branching off from the river. Dike and a flat-roofed house, probably a residential house. At this time, there were high-pressure street lights, so I could clearly see that it was a couple sitting on the saddle kissing, the boy hugging the woman's waist. The woman has long hair tied at the waist, both wearing black jackets. Oh, they are seeing each other at night. It's so romantic, the two of them are kissing, dispelling my feeling of fear. I'm also thinking, why don't I go inside and cuddle up there to get warm? The rain here is also light, the wind is not as strong as before. Swipe. The automatic wipers are again running across the windshield. After enjoying a section of road with high pressure lights, the sky became dark again like before. If only this whole road were built with high pressure roads, how much peace of mind would it be? At this time, there were no longer any bamboo on both sides of the road, but both sides were fields, and in the distance was a river flowing quietly. Then came the rustling casuarina trees. Oh my god, this is not interesting. I need this time for the road to be open with fields on both sides. The feeling of safety would be better, but I can't understand this constant. There were rows of trees blocking the view. I had the feeling that a group of robbers could come out at any time. In the distance there seems to be an old rice tree, so why is it alone here? I think. Sigh. Oh my god, a dark shadow on a tree branch near the ground suddenly rushed down to the base of the tree. I only had time to glance at it, then my hair stood on end and I stepped on the accelerator and rushed forward. At this moment I could only think of one thing: accelerate and run. Leave me. Suddenly I shouted because in front there was a bright light shining back into my car, a light brighter than my headlights. No, not one ray, but two rays of light shone straight in my face. At the same time, there was an old woman standing on the side of the road, covering her eyes and looking at my car, holding a stick in her hand, leaning on the ground. I gave up and couldn't help but slow down on the gas because it was too bright. I had to turn off the headlights before he realized that there was a car going in the opposite direction coming too close. It was quickly trembling past me. He also passed me. Even the old woman, I had a hard time thinking, but until now I still can't understand why a white-haired old woman exists there on a cold, rainy, windy night. But it seemed that her feet and the stick never touched the ground. Finally, nearly 20 more minutes of hard night time passed. Fantry Bridge also appeared on the map, and Van Jang Dijk was reached in the distance. The road was bright with high-pressure lights outside. I breathed a sigh of relief, thinking that I had to immediately turn to Van Jang Street, a residential street, to get to Fantry Bridge and not take the Dijk Road anymore, ending an incredibly terrible night driving experience. And this is the end of the story. Everyone who listens to the story finds it interesting. Please give me one like and one subscriber. I hope everyone has fun listening to the story. See you in the next videos. Goodbye.